This week, on Beacon Web News, reporter May Craig spoke with a new English professor here on campus. Reporter Cara Fusco gets the numbers on how many students went virtual and how many are back in person. That's all coming up next on Beacon Web News. Welcome to the September 16th episode of Beacon Web News. I'm Sim Kerr. The Student Engagement Office encourages everyone eligible to vote to register for this upcoming election. Students can vote by the Student Engagement Office on September 17th to register to vote for the November presidential election. To learn what you need to register to vote, visit studentvote.org. The Center for Student Success and Engagement will be hosting a career preparation workshop at Bowman Hall using ONET from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on September 17th. ONET is an online database for occupational information. Dr. Samantha Petty, Assistant Professor of Political Science, will be presenting this year's Constitution Day lecture virtually about a brief history of voting laws in the United States and how COVID-19 will impact the 2020 election. The lecture will take place September 17th from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. With the school year starting, there are many concerns about the current COVID situation and the impact it is having on student life. Reporter Cara Fusco got the numbers on residential and virtual students and asked those living on campus how they feel about being back.
COVID-19 has impacted education across the world, especially the number of students on and off campus. According to MCLA's Dean of Enrollment Management and Community Relations, MCLA has seen a 17% decrease in the total number of students, which was expected in all institutions that estimated a 15 to 20% decrease in enrollment for the 2021 school year.
We have in the ballpark of 540 students living on campus in the residence halls. Everyone's in a single room, spread out between Hoosick Hall, Berkshire Towers, and the townhouses. First-year students are, the majority of them, if not all of them, are in Hoosick. Approximately 60 students that asked for an online exemption due to some sort of extenuating circumstance. Most of them were health related, whether for themselves or sort of a family member they were living with. But then in an attempt sort of last spring when the housing process was in the final stages, we allowed a number of students to get out of their residency requirement or choose commuter status if they wanted to. We knew we had to de-densify and offer all single rooms. So with a combination of those two things, kind of bumped up our commuter numbers.
I had to email RPS and tell them that I wanted to drop my housing agreement, and I had to fill out a dynamic form that allowed me to do so because I live within commuting range. And then they approved it, and then I had to tell them my address again, and all of that. And then they let me have a commuter status.
It's not my first time living on campus. Last year I lived in Hoosick, so BT is definitely pretty different, especially this semester. I think I definitely feel safe. I think they're doing a pretty good job, keeping everything and everyone safe. I will say I think some of the ones, between suite mates and BT are kind of ridiculous just because we're all sharing the same bathroom already, so I think they're just a little strict in that area, but otherwise I think they're doing a really good job to keep everyone safe.
Make sure to abide by MCLA's COVID-19 guidelines to maintain the low number of positive coronavirus cases on campus. For Beacon Web News, I'm Cara Fusco.
Hoosick Valley Train Ride and the Berkshire Scenic Railway Museum will be hosting summer train rides on Saturday, September 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. This hour-long round-trip train ride will take you through Hoosick Valley. Tickets are $14 for adults, $10 for children between 4 and 14, senior citizens and military tickets are $12, and infants and toddlers are free. For more information, go to facebook.com/Hoosick Valley Service. On September 21st at noon, Counseling Services is holding Virtual Mental Health Monday with Director of Counseling Services Heidi Rielo. The event will be a casual conversation about all things mental health and wellness. Students can reach the link for the event through the MCLA Events app. The new MCLA Fitness Center was completed this past summer and officially opened to the campus on September 5th. I spoke with the Vice President of Student Affairs, Kathy Holbrook, and the Director of Athletics, Laura Mooney, to ask how this new space will affect campus life and how we are keeping students safe while using it.
This project was being talked about when I started here back in 2015. We had fits and starts getting it going and being able to make it a reality. It's amazing to think that it's actually here.
I mean, I'm hoping that when admissions has their tours, that this is a path that they come through the building. Because everyone's worried about health and wellness nowadays. It's not just athletes. So really impactful for students to know that they're coming here and they're going to be able to have an experience where they're able to take care of their bodies, prepare themselves, whether it be for a sport or just to stay fit and active in their regular college experience.
I've worked on a campus with a wonderful fitness center, and I know how much it benefits students who are not student athletes. And I'm excited about that for our students who just want to work out for their own health.
We've had roughly, I'd say, probably 40, 45 people on a daily basis coming through the space. And again, some folks are still nervous. They don't want to be in spaces where there's a lot of people. It's still really nice outside, so people would rather go for a run outside or do something, maybe like go for a hike, instead of come inside and utilize this space. So I'm thinking when the weather changes a little bit, when people are more comfortable, more settled at school in general, that it'll start to pick up again.
It was in discussion phases in 2015. The college had wanted to do this for quite some time. It was probably about a year later that an actual way to make it happen became apparent. A path to get to what we wanted. And probably even bigger and better than what we were looking for.
People are just amazed with the space, absolutely amazed. And people that maybe haven't been here as long as myself and Kathy to know that this has been in the works and we've been dreaming this up for a long time. But they just think it's an incredible space to come in and get what they want to get done. The faculty and staff that I've seen come in are they're just super, they were like dying to get in here and to get on the new machines.
The MCLA Fitness Center officially opened on Saturday, September 5th, and along with the new track and equipment, there's also some new safety restrictions.
There's a reason in state opening plans that fitness centers are in the last parts of the phases, but Massachusetts has good guidelines. Laura and her staff worked hard to apply those guidelines to this facility, and we feel confident that it's set up in such a way that with responsible use and good supervision, things should work just as effectively as the way your classes are being conducted with social distancing, et cetera.
Quite a bit of changes had to go into place with the COVID regulations that were put out by the state. So for example, we can't use machines that are right next to each other. Some of our cardio equipment has to be 14 feet apart. So you'll notice that we've got 2 treadmills on one end and 2 treadmills on the far end. So one person can be using one of those on one end and the other on the other end. So we just had to be really intentional about where things were going to be positioned.
To help keep the center clean and safe for students, fogging happens in the morning before the gym is open, and mopping occurs once the gym is closed for the night.
So normally a lot of people work out kind of in a circuit fashion, like, oh, I'll do 2 reps over here and then I'll go and do 2 reps of a different muscle group. And so we're asking people not to do that this year. You've got to stay focused on, if you're doing benching, you're benching until you're done benching, then go over, then work the leg press to try and keep things more isolated. Use your area, clean your area, then kind of head over to a different space.
Students are encouraged to book an appointment for the fitness center through Microsoft Bookings, which can be accessed through your student email. You can find the center hours, rules, and safety procedures on the athletics website at athletics.mcla.edu. And now from the Beacon. Former Dean of Students Celia Norcross has a new position as Dean of Students at Berkshire Community College. Despite the fall 2020 athletic season being canceled, student athletes are still remaining positive. MCLA signed an articulation agreement with Berkshire Community College for students majoring in early childhood education. Students from BCC with an associate's degree in early childhood education can transfer to MCLA with a core requirements waiver. MCLA has been ranked as a top 10 college for the 3rd consecutive year among the nation's public colleges by U.S. News and World Report. MCLA placed 9th this year in the ranking. There was an issue with the COVID testing done recently regarding mislabeling students who were affected by having been alerted and told to reschedule or have been retested. You can check out these and other stories from the Beacon at theonlinebeacon.com or pick up a copy all over campus. With a new school year comes new staff and professors. Reporter May Craig spoke with a new professor, Antonio Templanza, who joined the English and Communications Department.
This week on Beacon Web News, I interviewed new English and Communications professor Dr. Antonio Templanza on what his transition has been like during COVID-19.
Really appreciated the small liberal arts college environment. When I visited, everyone was so friendly. The students were so engaged and enthusiastic, diverse in their scholarly, intellectual, and just personal aspirations that it just felt like a great fit. I've worked at Yale University when I was a graduate student a little bit afterwards, and then I worked at the State University of New York at New Paltz, both of which were rather large institutions. And, understandably difficult because, you know, I have taught hybrid classes before and taught online systems, but never to such an extent as they have here because of the pandemic situation. That being said, my faculty colleagues have been so generous and helpful in just giving me access to resources and help, and also just intellectual and emotional support, trying to get through the situation. The biggest challenge really has been trying to make the classroom experience as universal and just fun as possible when half the class is in a different virtual space all the time. We don't have that interaction. And while I get to see all the students eventually over the whole week, I'm sure there are some I feel bad for students who come in on one day of the week who can't come in on another because they miss out on some really cool discussions or some really cool connections they could make if they were in the same room. But that's something we're all trying to roll with.
Beacon Web News, I'm May Craig.
Darnell Moore, author, activist, and a tourer, will be doing a discussion on his book, No Ashes in the Fire, and LGBTQIA+ issues on September 23rd at 6 p.m. via Zoom. This event was made possible through contributions to the Lavender Fund. The Friel Library will also be hosting a virtual discussion on Moore's book via Facebook from September 17th to the 22nd. If you have any questions, email advancement@mcla.edu or call 413-662-5224. Interested in a major? Thinking about changing or adding a major or a minor? Then the Major and Minor Fair is the place to virtually visit on September 24th, which will be hosted by the Center for Student Success and Engagement from 12 to 12:50. SGA is continuing the tradition of Spirit Fridays every Friday. Show your pride and support for MCLA by wearing blue and gold or your favorite MCLA gear every Friday. The new MCLA dining app, Dining Sidekick, is now live and is free in your app store. This app can be used to order lunch or dinner from the home zone. Students can use a meal swipe, declining balance, or if you're a commuter, a credit card. Students can also use a meal swipe on a sub of the day from Subway or order from the full menu using dining dollars or a credit card. The pickup time can be scheduled or choose ASAP and be told when the order will be ready. The pickup location for all orders is in the Trailblazer Cafe. That's it for this week. To stay up to date with BWN, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/MCLABWN. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.